It really seems like Bethesda is sticking with their promise that they made about updating Starfield roughly every 6 weeks, as Starfield's last update has only just gone, and we already have news of what the next update will feature, and I for one couldn't be more excited about this small update. Now I know I am a few days late covering this news, so let me just quickly apologise for that. I had a very hectic weekend, but anyway, the other night Bethesda tweeted the following. On March 6th, we'll be putting out our next Starfield update into Steam Beta. This update focuses on quality of life improvements and bug fixes as we get ready to add even more features and content to Starfield this year. Here are some highlights. We're adding expressions to photo mode. Now you can make your character and your companions match the mood for your shot, and Vasco is getting some new poses too. First off, obviously to many of you that is a very small thing, but for me this is very exciting because I love visual photography. If you follow my Twitter or my Instagram especially, you'll see that I'm constantly taking pictures in the games I play. Starfield is a huge highlight for me right now photo-wise, and I've been asking for a photo mode update that adds exactly this since I first played the game, so I'm very excited for this bit. But let's move on. We're improving the scanner so you can continue to use it to monitor the world around you while also harvesting resources or even opening doors. Nothing too major here, but this is the small quality of life improvements that are making the game just get better and better with every single update. They've also added the ability to set a quest active if you travel to the quest location. So if you have a quest that isn't active and you hit set course, that quest will now become active for you. Of course, like every single other update that they've done, Starfield is also getting a ton of bug fixes. One that they've highlighted here is David Barron going missing in the sabotage questline. I actually never had this issue, and then the other day I went through New Game Plus and got this issue for the first time, so I'm very glad that it's going to be fixed for me soon. Now they do wrap up by saying, we hope that this update will continue to improve your experience in Starfield. Stay tuned for notes next week for all the details. Of course, once that time comes, I will have you all covered. If you don't have Twitter or anything, no worries, I've got you covered here. Now, one of the things I really want to talk about is that they've confirmed time and time again that yes, more content is being added to Starfield in the future, not even just through DLCs. In the tweets that I showed you, they have confirmed yet again. The only reason I want to point this out is because people are continuously begging for DLC news or more content. And trust me, I understand that a lot of the time, people on the internet just love to find anything to complain about. But for those of you who are actually like, okay, all of these quality of life improvements are great, I just want more content though, it is coming, so don't worry. What they're doing now is just trying to fix as much of the game as possible, like all of the bugs, and adding in all of these cool quality of life things before adding in all of the content on top of that. And honestly, I think that that's a very smart move. Look, I've put almost 600 hours into Starfield already, and I'm still finding new stuff. I mentioned on the Discord the other day, I found like an entire 2-hour long questline the other day, and I didn't even know it was in the game, and it even gives you a new unique crew member. Starfield is absolutely stacked with content. In my honest opinion, there's no reason that Bethesda should be rushing out content right now. I'm loving that we're getting the quality of life improvements and the bug fixes, because it's small things like that that are going to make the game get better and better for when new content finally comes out. Adding in a couple of new quests isn't going to improve the game overall. Just look at Cyberpunk for example. I actually got a refund on my original copy of Cyberpunk because it was such a hot mess on release. And now Cyberpunk is seriously a top 5 RPG ever for me. And it wasn't new content that made it that way. It was the years of bug fixes and quality of life improvements that CDPR put into the game. To see Bethesda go out of their way to add all of this stuff to Starfield, an FOV slider, a major photo mode update, new ways to travel, city maps, and all of the other things coming soon, etc, blah blah blah, it just makes me really excited. And I know that Starfield is getting a lot of super forced hate right now. People say that they've played hundreds of hours but the game sucks, which is just hilarious because nobody is playing a game for hundreds of hours if they don't like it. And you all know I have a very positive mindset. I hate negativity, so I for one am very excited about this update, even if it is minor. This is probably the most exciting update for me so far because again, I love photo mode. Now as for the content that they mentioned that they will be releasing this year, we sadly just don't know what it is. I mean, we know that we're getting Shattered Space, and we know that that's dropping at some point this year. It seems pretty obvious that we'll be getting other DLCs this year too, But I also think it's possible that we start to see some of these scrapped content being added into the game. Now let me explain that a little bit further. Now, the reason I think that we could possibly see cut content come into Starfield in the future is because Bethesda again have mentioned how they're going to keep updating Starfield until it is the best game it can possibly be. They've clearly been adding in a ton of bug fixes and quality of life improvements, and they've also mentioned, like I said earlier, new content coming this year. Now I don't think that they would add in brand new stuff, just because we've never seen Bethesda do that before outside of DLCs. But if you remember when Starfield was first delayed, Todd Howard did mention that he was actually very grateful for the delay, because it enabled them to add in content that otherwise would have been cut. Now, we don't know if this was, big things, as in entire quest lines, or entire mechanics, or just small things like an outfit, or a couple of weapons, or maybe a play at home. But there were still things that didn't make it into the final game, even with the delay. We know this because this happens with every single video game that ever gets created. No matter how many delays it gets, no matter how long it takes, every single game in the world has cut content. Now I do believe that these future content updates will be some of this scrap stuff, just things that had to be cut from the original base game that we got at launch. Again, whether that's actually new quests, or simply just some new armors, or weapons, or a player home, or whatever, that is what I think Bethesda are adding. Now look, nobody has told me that, I haven't heard any rumours about this, I haven't heard anything down the grapevine or anything like that. Nobody has told me this, so please do not take my speculation as confirmation. I'm not an insider or anything like that, I'm just speculating based on the evidence that we have, and I just feel like this is something that Bethesda would do just to give Starfield a little bit more content. But anyway, I've ranted enough about this one tiny little update. I'm really looking forward to this new photo mode, and as always I'm beyond excited to see what Bethesda has planned in the future, especially content wise. If you did enjoy the video, I kindly ask that you leave it a like, and of course consider subscribing if you do want to stay fully up to date on Starfield, Fallout, Elder Scrolls and plenty of other positive RPG content. As always, a huge and massive thank you to our channel members for their continued support, it really means the world guys, so thank you once again. But with all of that said and done, I thank you all so much for watching, and I really hope to see you next time. Peace.